Yo, welcome back to another video. And today we're talking about these gas prices, man. They're getting out of control. They are out of control, and looks like the way things going, they may only increase from here. Been seeing some decrease here and there, but ultimately I feel like it's just gonna shoot right back up. So let's go ahead and talk about it. Let's see what's going on in the world. Obviously, if you enjoyed the video, please drop a like, but I ain't gonna do too much yapping. Let's just get straight into it.
Suspension will end tomorrow night. Governor Kemp declined to extend it for a third time. Fox 5's Annie Mapp tells us drivers could be paying more at the pump by Wednesday.
The current tax break saves drivers about 33 cents per gallon. Some are worried on how much it could cost them to fill up by the end of this week.
That is definitely tough.
Georgia drivers are paying an average of $3.79 for a gallon of regular gasoline. That data is reported by Gas Buddy.
Definitely it's too high. Costing money.
Over the last few weeks, drivers
Those prices are similar to what's going on down here in my state, which I live in the state of Florida. So we roughly right around about the same, maybe a little bit more. I think, if I'm not mistaken, I can't remember how much I paid per gallon last time I filled up, but I'm pretty sure it's roughly right around the same last time I checked. But it's amazing how things just continue to go up in our economy besides our pay. Isn't that amazing? Isn't that amazing? Everything seems to go up in our society, in our economy, except our pay. And then, you know, all these businesses try and justify it. It just does not make any sense. And then when they had that whole, I forgot what year that was, that kicked in, but when they when they raised the minimum wage, and then to help businesses out, I think it stretched over a 5 or 10 year period. I think it's 5 years, 5-year period for them to be able to pay people at that amount, because they wanted to help them out. And they wanted to help businesses out, particularly smaller businesses. But at the end of the day, what's crazy is that when produce, other products, and anything that we purchase, when that goes up, there's no warning. There's no, hey, these prices are about to go up. We're going to give you 2-3 years so that you guys know that they just mark them up and we just have to deal with it. So why is it when it's time to raise wages, I apologize. Why is it when it's time to raise the wages, we're giving businesses a time period to get there? Nah. And if you're going to do it that way, why don't you give the small businesses that time period? If you're a large company, it should not take you too much to raise an employee that's making $10 an hour to 15. It's not going to kill you. But that's the problem with America. It's so greedy. What can we do to maintain as much money as we can and not have to give it out, not have to give it back to the country or to the people that work for us? So many companies are just so fucking greedy. It's ridiculous, bro. It's so sad. Like, I was watching a video, which I'm probably gonna do a reaction to it, of Tommy G talking about the whole AI thing and these data centers and just how much water they're absorbing and leaving cities, small towns with no water because it's absorbing so much water, and trying to buy these people out of their land for millions of dollars and just not caring. Like, these companies, these billionaires, these millionaires, our government is willing to suck up all our resources just so they can make profit. Is that not insane? Is that not insane? And all these movies talking about how we're going to have to look for another planet. Yeah, at the rate we're going, we are going to have to look for another planet. And the sad part about it is we're the reason that this planet may die. So for us to just take our greedy mindset, go somewhere else, and then suck up all the resources there, it's going to be the same exact thing. It's going to be a repeated cycle. Humans are, I speak as if I'm not a human, but our mindset, we're just so greedy. We're power hungry. We're financially hungry. It's just disgusting. We don't know how to be satisfied with what we have. We always need more. That's why we out here going to war. That's why we don't care about the average citizen nowadays. Our governments, anybody in power, anyone with a lot of wealth, they don't care about the lower class. They don't care about the middle class. The middle class barely exists nowadays, but they don't care. Nobody cares anymore. It's just, actually, nobody ever cared, to be honest with you. It's just, it frustrates me to even think about it, to even talk about it. But that's just the society we live in. And they wonder why so many people are just so selfish, because it starts from the top and it trickles down. I mean, the average working citizen is treated like shit around here. We're nothing, but we're also the backbone that's keeping the economy flowing and going. But we'll never be recognized as that. We'll always be looked down as, yeah, keep going, keep working hard for us, make us all our money. And we're going to keep all the wealth, probably 80 to 90% of the wealth at the top, and the rest of you guys fight over that trickle of 10%. And that's exactly what's happening. Anyway.
Have managed to save about 33 cents per gallon thanks to Governor Brian Kemp temporarily suspending the state's gas tax. However, those taxes will return on Wednesday.
Any kind of help is good, but I mean, it's just like a temporary, band-aid fix. It's not really going to solve the actual problem.
The tax break has become a familiar tool in Georgia during periods of elevated fuel prices. Some drivers say the rising costs led them to change their routines.
We keep all of our traffic right here. Aside from that, it's just to and from work.
Definitely looking into other options like MARTA just for, day-to-day activities.
Lady T is a food delivery driver. She says while she makes decent
food
money,
delivery,
the price
that's
at the
tough.
pump is hurting her pocket.
Being that I DoorDash, yes, I get paid daily, so even if I'm still spending money on gas, it's probably like in a week, at least like $200-300.
A spokesperson for Governor
Dang.
Brian Kemp's office said.
And you know what's crazy? I lost my train of thought. Let me circle back. Hold up.
Hurting fuel prices. Some drivers say the rising costs led them to change their routines.
We keep all of our traffic right here. Aside from that, it's just to and from work.
Definitely
Wow, I literally lost my train of thought. But to go into another point, these the fact that they're doing a tax break is cool, but it's only temporary. It's only for a couple days. And like you said, it's not really fixing the issue. It's just putting a Band-Aid over it, but there's no actual solution to this. So once again, the people at the bottom have to just figure it out at the end of the day. And that's what I wanted to get into. They were talking about the savings. 33 cents is a lot, but I don't know. I've always had that mindset. Maybe I just prefer convenience so much that I would literally just pay the difference. 33 cents that's a big difference. But most people, specifically my mom fights for every cent she can get. I respect her. I love her. Hey, you do you. I'm all about convenience. I'm not gonna, if it's a 5-10 cent difference, I ain't gonna lie to you, I'm not fighting for it. I'm not driving out of my way to save 10-15 cents on the gallon. It is what it is. I just take it on the chin and keep it moving. That's just me personally. I'm all about convenience. My favorite gas station to go to is Wawa. And so if there is anything, that's probably the only gas station I would go out of my way to get gas for, just because there most likely is a chance I'll walk inside and grab something else. But when it comes to what's a big inconvenience, Sam's Club, got a whole membership and everything. I went there, I think, once or twice. My issue with Sam's Club, yeah, you could be saving 15-20 cents to the gallon, whatever the case may be. But the problem is the line. No matter what, it could be early in the morning, middle of the day, closing time. There's a line. I'm not, just me personally, I'm all about convenience. I think it's a waste of time for me to get in the line just to get gas. I'm one of those in and out type of niggas. I want to get there, pump, go. Simple as that. If I want to stand in the line, it'll be me going inside to grab a snack or something of that case. And most of the time, there is no line. If there is a line, it's because people just don't know how to use the self-checkout. Literally, you just walk up to the self-checkout, scan, and you end up out of there. That's how I've never really had to deal with a line in Wawa. The lines is usually at the checkout station because they want to deal with a real person or whatever the case may be, or they getting gas. I don't know, but go quickly to the self checkout and I'm gone. So I just don't want to be sitting in my car waiting and waiting and waiting while people in front of me are grabbing gas. It ain't worth it. The juice ain't worth the squeeze for me in that instance.
Looking into other options like MARTA just for, day-to-day activities.
Lady T is a food delivery driver. She says while she makes her pocket.
Being that I DoorDash, yes, I on gas. It's probably like $.
A spokesperson for Governor Brian Kemp's office says while he is planning to let the suspension expire, he will keep an eye on unexpected future needs. Reporting in Midtown, Annie Mapp, Fox 5 News.
A lot. If the United States doesn't rely on the Strait of Hormuz for its oil, why have gas prices shot up so much? Well, there's a few factors at play, but one of the big ones has to do with the actual type of oil being dug up. So there are dozens of different.
If I'm not mistaken, obviously she's going to go into breaking it down, but just so I can throw my 2 cents in there, if I'm not mistaken, oil is a global market. So even if, let's say, we're not buying oil from a specific place, regardless of where we're getting our oil from and if we're at war with them or not in the best terms with that specific country, that doesn't necessarily affect our gas prices. Our gas prices are affected globally. So let's say, Hormuz is having a hard time or having some issues there. Gas prices globally are going to go up because at the end of the day, it's a business. So they're going to go where they need to go to get the best price, or wherever the price is the highest, they're going to match that. So that's my understanding of it, but maybe she'll go into better detail. I could be wrong in that regard, but I'm gonna let her kind of break that down and we'll go from there.
Types of crude oil, but to keep it simple, we're just going to be talking about 2: light sweet and heavy sour, or for the purposes of this video today, I've got honey vinegar and molasses. So let's start with this light sweet crude. This is the good stuff. It's generally worth more than heavy sour because it's easier to refine into gasoline and diesel. Plus, it's a little better for the environment when you're refining it. And the US, unlike other parts of the world, happens to have a lot of it that we can tap into. So this is largely what the United States has been focused on as it's ramped up oil production over the last 15 years. And it's what's helped the US back in 2019 become a net exporter of oil, largely on the back of exporting all of this light sweet crude to other countries. But you might be wondering, if this light sweet crude is so great for making gasoline, why don't we just keep more of it here at home? Well, here's the nuance. A lot of the US refining system was built decades ago, before the shale boom turned America into a major oil producer, when the US relied much more heavily on imported crude from places like Mexico, as well as Canada. And a lot of that oil was this: heavier, sour crude, the cheaper stuff on the global market that requires more complicated refining equipment. In fact, more than 2/3 of refining capacity in this country still runs most efficiently using heavier crude blends, especially along the Gulf Coast, where many of those refineries were built around.
I could be interpreting this wrong, but what I'm getting out of this is the United States is just choosing the route where they can make the most profits, but be cheap on the back end when it comes to their actual citizens. So we get the shitty oil, and the one that takes a lot more. It's not. I guess it's not such as. I don't hold up. First of all, geez, I'm having a brain fart. I can't even get the words out. Let me freeze. The quality of oil that we naturally produce, we would rather sell that off and make more money because that's a better quality oil. But the oil that we're bringing in or buying from other countries, we're going to continue doing that, even though it's a shittier oil, just because our whole refineries and our factories and our systems that break down that oil and turn it into the oil that we need for gas and other things, it's just built for that instead of updating the equipment, which we do have the money for. But once again, the United States is very cheap when it comes to things of that nature. But when it comes to our U.S. military, we spending billions, maybe trillions of dollars on some equipment that we may or may not need. Because I'm pretty sure our military is so stacked that if we didn't upgrade some equipment for a couple years, they would still be fine. But I don't have the most education on our military system, equipment, so I can't speak 100% on that. That's just my assumption, but I'm pretty sure we would be fine. That's just where we are. I think we're just levels above everybody else's military, that if we didn't get equipment for 2, 3, maybe even 4 years, the way technology growing, I'll probably give it maybe 2, 3 years. I think we would still be able to battle it out with the best of them. But in regards, let's go back here. I am interpreting it as, oh, we produce the quality stuff here. Let's make money on that. And we'll just continue getting the cheap. Like she said, cheap. It's cheap, 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 cheap. America loves that. And then we'll give our citizens the cheap shit and they do with it what they may. America, America, America. So sad. It's like one big, huge business.
That imported oil. So even though America produces a ton of light, sweet crude oil today, we still import millions of barrels of heavier crude because many U.S. refineries are optimized for it. Now let's travel back to the Middle East, because a decent amount of the oil moving through the Strait of Hormuz is that heavier, sour crude, but most of it is usually bound for Asia. Countries like China, Japan, and South Korea have those complex refineries too. So it's not like the US is suddenly cut off from the specific oil that our refineries rely on most heavily, especially since we're already getting a lot of that crude from the West. But here's where we come to our second big point. Oil is priced on a global market. So when the Strait of Hormuz is closed, causing less oil to move through global markets, prices tend to rise everywhere, even as the U.S. still buys a lot of its crude from countries like Canada and Mexico. And at the end of the day, oil is a globally traded commodity. Producers are going to sell where they can get the best or highest price. So even in this era of booming U.S. oil production, even as we don't rely much on the Strait of Hormuz directly, America still isn't immune from these global energy shocks, because oil could be produced locally, but prices are set globally. And that's the sticky and complicated reality of the global oil market.
She said it better than I did, so we'll give it to you, whatever your name is. I appreciate that. But it basically somewhat, I was somewhat right there. I was right there with her. I think I just missed a little bit of details, a little bit of nuance, but hey, at the end of the day, it's globally. It's a global market. So whether or not even though we could produce it, this, that, and the third at a cheaper price and give it to our citizens at a cheaper price, we can't, because it's a global market. So that makes sense.
Time this week, I done put gas in my car, and the price just keep on going up, 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 up. Look at it. That's basically telling me that I need to sit my ass at home. I literally went to Austin, had to put gas in there, and had to put gas coming back. Then I had to put gas again, and now I'm putting gas again. The whole time.
Had to throw a little bit of comedy in there. But yeah. So so I wasn't really affected with this at the beginning, especially at the beginning of this year. I think it's around when it really started booming, these gas prices, because I had a work from home job. So I was chilling, man. I was chilling. I'm already a homebody, so I was barely leaving home anyway. So I wasn't driving anywhere. So I was probably filling out my tank maybe once every 2 weeks, maybe even longer than that. That's just really how much, that's just how much driving I wasn't doing. I literally was not leaving the house. I know I could be doing better in that aspect, but yeah. So I was every maybe 2-3 weeks, I was filling up my tank. Now that I've transitioned out of that job and I'm now driving a lot further, unfortunately, that should change here in a couple months when I move. But now that I'm driving a lot further, I'm filling up, because it sounded like he said he filled up 4 times a week. Depends on the week. So my schedule switches between a 2-week period. If it's my long week, I'm probably filling up maybe 2 or 3 times that week, depending on what's going on. Yeah, probably about 2 to 3 times on my long weeks. On my short weeks, if I'm actually getting out of the house, then it'll most likely be 2 fill-ups. If I'm not getting out of the house, 1 on my short weeks is usually suffices. So yeah, 4 times a week, man, you're doing a lot of driving. And I drive a pretty hefty distance right now. I think I drive about, no, it's not, I think, I know. I drive from where I live to my work now, it's about an hour 15, hour 30, depends on traffic, out. So I'm driving a pretty far distance, but I do have a pretty decent fuel efficient car. It's an older car. So that may be the reason why that's the case. I don't know what he's driving, but thank goodness I do have, this is the time where for the people out there who got a fuel efficient vehicle, hey, be happy. Be happy. Because especially those people who got that new, let's say, for example, that a Prius or a Camry, especially a new Camry, I heard that got 50 miles to the gallon. You cruising. But for those people who got, your Scat Packs and your Hellcats and all these extra things, the Mustang, the people who got the trucks, the diesel trucks, I know y'all feeling it, boy. I know that them gas prices high.
The national average price of gas could be over $7 a gallon. That is not my opinion. It is the opinion of ExxonMobil Senior Vice President Neil Chapman, who late last week warned that the cost of a barrel of oil could spike to up to $160 due to unprecedented historically low oil inventory levels. Here's the math. It's not perfectly accurate, but it is a logical formula. In February 2026, oil was trading at around $60 a barrel, resulting in a national average price of gas of about $2.98. May 2026, oil is trading at about an average of $90 per barrel, and that resulted in a $4.29 national average price of gas. The result of this is that for every $1 increase in the cost of crude oil, gas prices spike by around 4.4 cents per gallon. If oil were to hit 160 and X equals 2.98 times 160 minus 60 times 0.044, that equals $7.38. If you want to know how much this specifically impacts you where you live, take the price of gas that you paid recently and add $3.08 to that. Now you might be asking, how can inventory levels be so low right now?
That means we would roughly be about where I'm at, about $6.50, possibly creeping towards the high sixes to maybe even spilling over to the $7 for gas. That's insane, bro. $6 to $7 per gallon. Oh my goodness. And watch, our salary's still gonna be the same. Nothing gonna change in that aspect. That we just gonna keep getting I'm sorry's, and actually, no, our government's so savage right now. There is no I'm sorry. They don't care. They don't care because most of them people are wealthy. They don't live paycheck to paycheck. So them pretending like they care about the average citizen is the funny part, because they don't. Most of the things that get passed in nowadays for laws and things of that nature, it's not to benefit us. And the president that we currently have in office is his whole focus is on the business side of things. And you can tell by a lot of the things that's going on. It's sad, but hey, it is what it is. That's why you got to work hard. You got to grind your way to whatever it is that you are very passionate about when it comes to your whole financial side of things. Some people are, born with that silver spoon. They ain't got to do too much. Or you got the people who are born with that silver spoon and who still have to put in that work and have that work ethic so they can take over their family's company that they've started or lands, or start their own. You got that as well. And then you got the people who aren't born with that, who want to remain where they are and be lazy and rely on the government for whatever that may be, or have medical health, whatever the case is, that you fall in that category that prevents you from going out and doing the things that you really want to do. And then you just have the people who just lazy. There's nothing affecting them. And then you also got the people who don't have those privileges, but they out there working their butt off every single day to try and make the best of what they have, and to try and, increase that as time continues to go on, and create that financial stability. And hopefully long-term goal is the generational wealth. That's my personal goals as well. So it is unfortunate where we are, and just picking yourself up by the bootstraps nowadays is not going to get you the American dream, even if the American dream is still a real thing. It's honestly about moving smarter. And I know a lot of the older generation like to clown on the younger generation, especially Gen Z and whatever the generation is after us. Is it Alpha? I can't keep up with all these. They like to clown on us because we don't have the work ethic, or we don't want to work at these low paying jobs at these companies that don't even care about us. It's the fact that we have a different mindset. We were born in a generation with technology. We literally grew up with technology, and we're growing as technology is improving. We're growing. So we're learning. We are like the test dummy for this whole new technology era. So with that comes a different mindset. And most of us have that mindset where it's like, why do I want to work at Walmart for 20, 25 years? Sometimes for the people who stay in the same position, sometimes you may elevate and get somewhere higher. But why would I want to do that when I'm literally seeing people make money, not working as hard through, sponsorships on the internet, or being an influencer through Instagram, or making content on YouTube, or making 10 bands a month or thousands of dollars a month through the TikTok affiliate shop. I mean, there's so many different e-commerce. There's so many different things going on nowadays where it's like, I think the Gen Z and whatever that generation after us just has that mindset. Is like, I don't want to do these boring, lame, or go that typical path of let's go to college, do this, that, the third, grab a degree, and then go work in the regular corporate industry. We're not worried about our majority of our generations doesn't care about that. They would rather go the route of scamming or doing illegal things in order to acquire their money than to follow that same corporate structure like the people before them. That's the best way I can put that.
When we are currently producing more oil than ever before. That is because data matters. And if you look at the data, we are producing only around 3% more than we were under the Biden administration. Oil has been running on a deficit since about the end of April. We are currently producing a lot of oil, but we are exporting and consuming more than we produce, and we are absorbing the buffer that production provides. It's simple supply and demand, but it explains why prices could so violently spike. Because currently we are producing with a buffer. When that buffer goes away, we're fucked. Now here's the clincher. Economists have been stating for the past year that we've been tiptoeing towards stagflation. A $7 national average price of gas would not tiptoe us, it would basically knock that door down because of income elasticity. Income elasticity is basically how sensitive somebody is to price changes. People who are in the middle and lower class tend to have high income elasticity because when prices get more expensive, they modify their consumption behavior. Somebody who is higher income, they're not going to blink twice if they pay $50 more at a gas pump. And this is what creates stagflation, because the Fed is basically powerless to be able to fix or do anything. Typically, when demand falls, the Fed will adjust by lowering interest rates, but they can't do that because if they lower interest rates, prices increase, and prices are already going to increase. So, to anybody who is currently saying, I'm fine with paying more for gas prices if it means freedom or whatever the hell that means, I hope you're also fine with paying almost double that, because that is potentially what is about to happen.
There's people out here talking about some, I'll pay it just for freedom. I don't, like he said, I don't know what that means, but nah, I'm trying to get them gas prices back down. So if we can get there, I think everybody would be happy, to be honest with you. I don't know who would complain about cheaper gas prices or cheaper products in general. You can lower, while you lowering the gas prices, you can go ahead and lower the produce and everything else, the products that we buy in the grocery store, we can lower that down. If we can lower all that down and raise the hourly pay and raise people's salaries across the nation, now that will help us tremendously. Because I know they have this whole supply and demand, and I feel like what would make sense, if you want people to spend more money, give them more money, because a lot of people are not financially adept. So if you give more people money, it would actually probably just go right back into the whole ecosystem, because a lot of people Once they have money, instead of thinking, hey, let me put this away, let me save this, or let me reinvest this, or put this into some type of system where your money makes money for you, your money is working for you, and it just continues to grow and increase. People would rather just get more money and spend it, because we live in an age of gratification and showing off, and you got social media. So, you add a couple, $100 to $1,000 to people's paycheck, and they're out there acting a fool, buying brand new car, clothing, and all this other stuff. But in my opinion, that's the majority. The people who would be smart with it would actually take that money and let it work for them, or save it and do it that way. But anyway, unfortunately, these gas prices look like they may increase over the coming months, maybe sooner than that. I'm hoping not. I'm hoping that things will start to trickle back down to, I would say, maybe average prices. It's a prayer for it to go lower, but yeah, I don't believe that'll happen. But hey, I'm telling you, whatever it is that you want, probably, I would say, rethink it. Right now, we're in a day and age where we probably need to start focusing on necessities. What's a necessity? Because our wants, our needs have always trumped our wants. But the way the economy is going and everything continues to increase, but we're not making any more money as a middle to lower class citizen, we got to start moving smarter. Because if we don't move smarter with our money, we will always and forever continue to be paycheck to paycheck to paycheck to paycheck until you hit the grave. And in my opinion, I just don't want to be a person that lives that way. I want to be financially free, where I'm just enjoying life. If the paycheck hits, the paycheck hits. If some emergency circumstance ends up happening, cool, there's money in the account. But a lot of people don't live that way. I'm trying to get to that point because I currently don't live that way, but that's where I want to end up. Because unfortunately, it is paycheck to paycheck for most people. Because, we just don't bring home enough, but as well as I find myself falling into that hole of not being able to balance my wants and needs. I find myself sometimes going a little bit too far with the wants, and it's like, hey, calm it down. You don't need Uber Eats. You could have just cooked something. You know what I'm saying? So things like that. Oh, you didn't need these pair of shoes. I have a bad habit of buying shoes. You could have just put that money in the savings account. So I'm getting better at that, and eventually possibly going down the route of getting a financial advisor. But I done did a lot of yapping. I'm curious what y'all think about these gas prices. How is it affecting you? Is it not affecting you? Please comment, like, subscribe, share. Other than that, take it easy.